Hello and welcome to Overanalyze. My name is Levi. Today I'll be covering District 7 5A. Teams in this district we have Argyle, Colville Heritage, Denton, and Ryan, Grapevine, Lake Dallas, Birdville, and Richland. And I've been waiting for this day. Today is going to be an exciting district. Movement in this district, we have Northwest, who moved to District 5 5A. And Argyle comes in from District 7 4A. This is just old District 6 5A. Location of this district, we are like south of Denton, kind of some closer to Fort Worth. About there. Alright, getting into it, we have Lake Dallas. They got first. They had the best year in school history, lost in the regional finals to Amarillo. They made their way there. They nearly made their first ever state trip. They beat Alito by like 35. They beat Burleson Centennial by 8. Mansfield Summit by 7, and Lubbock Monterey by 12 in the regional tournament. And they lost Amarillo in the finals. They did have a great season, won district for the third year in a row. Their only close game was a Grapevine game. They only won that one by 3. They beat them by a little bit more the next time though. They have 11 players on the roster and 5 seniors. They do have quite a bit of change, but they do have some big minutes coming back. All right, a disclaimer here: I may or may not be a little bit biased, but this district was super weird. We were 6 total points away from having a 5-way tie for second place. If it wasn't for the complexity of Denton High School, we would have had the strangest occurrence in basketball that I have seen probably in high school basketball. 5-team playoff with 2 teams tying for second and missing out on the playoffs. Anyways, we have Ryan. They got second, lost them by district to Granbury by 1. They lost 37-36. Ryan doesn't really play like Ryan's field goal percentage isn't exactly the best, but somehow they just their athleticism and such they kind of drag down others' field goal percentage, and so it's very similar. They always have low scoring, very equal games, and it kind of keeps it close a lot of times, and that's what a lot of these teams do, and that's why second place went 8-6 in a 14-team district. Ryan, they're actually really good at this. This is how Ryan, at the end of the first quarter against Granbury, it was down by 1. It was 4-3 at the end of the first quarter. They were losing 4-3, as in 7 points were scored against Granbury total. Anyways, they, along with many others, went 8-6 in district. They swept Grapevine, including with a buzzer beater 3, I believe. They got swept by Richland and swept Colville Heritage and Northwest. They have 10 players upload their roster and 4 seniors. So Richland got 3rd, lost them by district to Brewer. We covered Brewer a couple days ago. They were looking pretty good, and Richland had kind of a weird season. Their non-district season, they probably didn't play the absolute best. They went like 2-7 in their first 9 games, and their wins came against Abilene and Keller Central, who are not the best teams. I guess completely speaking, and those were pretty close games. And then they come in and they actually do pretty good in like another tournament, towards the end of another tournament, and then they move basically right into district season, and they pull off 3 straight wins against Ryan, Denton, Colville Heritage. Those wins would prove to be useful to them, and they lost to Northwest next. But Richland, their last 2 games in district, at this point they were 8-4, and they just had to win 1 game to to secure second place, like standalone second place. Except they were against Grapevine and Lake Dallas. They probably were not winning the Lake Dallas one, just kind of off the gate, and so it was Grapevine, and they. I was at that game. I went all the way down to Richland to see that game. It was crazy. It was really close. It was just kind of back and forth, and we'll cover why just a second. But and then Grapevine just kind of pulled away, and so Richland they got brought back down to tied for second. They got third and had to face Brewer, which was probably the most difficult team out of the three that they had to play in that this district had to play in by-district, besides Lake Dallas, of course. They have 6 players uploaded roster and no seniors. Next we have Grapevine. Grapevine is one of the most interesting teams that I've looked at. They're like fun to watch, but also not at the same time. Like, I love watching their games. It's crazy. They lost in by-district to Ryder by 2. Just based on the lineups, it should not have been that close. However, Grapevine they are able to play up to other teams, even if they may have more skilled players in them. They actually play kind of similar to Aledo in that sense that I talked about Aledo a couple days. They actually split with Ryder, but they actually play similar to Aledo in that way that they are able to like kind of take away a superb skill advantage. They're really efficient. Their pace is pretty slow, but they are extremely efficient. They'll score their points, and they just kind of challenge you to score as many points in limited possessions as you may, like less possessions than you may have thought you were going in. That's why it's so fun to look at it, because they were really consistent from 3, and they had a really good like high-low game. That's why they only lost to Lake Dallas by 3. The year before that, they were leading. Lake Dallas had taken to overtime. Lake Dallas eventually won that game, but yeah, that's why they're able to play up and keep it super close in games that they probably couldn't otherwise keep it close. You know, they went 8-6 as well. They beat Richland, lost to Ryan, split with Northwest and Colorado Heritage. They have 13 players uploaded the roster and 7 seniors, including a few of their starters. So quite a lot of change, a little bit more than you would expect, but I think they could definitely come back and do pretty well next year. Next we have Colorado Heritage, got 5th. They went 7-7. They split with Ryan, Richland, Grapevine, and Northwest. They almost went 8-6, joining the party, but however they dropped a game to Denton. Yeah, they dropped 7-7, so they split with Ryan, Richland, Grapevine, Northwest, and Denton. They have 11 players uploaded roster and 5 seniors. All right, so quick thing about Denton here. I don't think Denton's making playoffs this year, so usually that means that I wouldn't really cover them a whole lot. But I just have to. My first ever look into girls basketball was centered around Denton, so I guess it's just like nostalgic or whatever. After January 25th, each team had 4 district games left, and after filtering out the known games against like Birdville and Lake Dallas, there were 512 scenarios for the playoffs of the remaining 9 total games between the remaining 6 total teams. And in those 512, Denton made the playoffs and won. It was truly an Avengers Infinity War moment, Doctor Strange moment. But and so after that night, I just expected it to go away, but no, it persisted. It was in the next one as well when there were only like 128. So like I can't really stand Denton High School, but I became their biggest supporter, and it's part of why I got so invested. So I guess thank you. All right, next team. Next we have Argyle. Got first in their district, almost had an undefeated season. They were really close to an undefeated season. They kind of rolled through playoffs, and it's like they rolled through playoffs, but it's not like who they were playing was just like not very good. They beat Fort Worth, Diamond Hill, Jarvis, which was really expected because District 8 was not like totally the best, and Argyle was really good. And they played Stephenville as a second round opponent, Bridgeport as a third round opponent, Canyon beat them by 1. I was listening to that game, like on the radio broadcast or whatever, and it sounded crazy. They were in Lubbock. It sounded insane. I really wish I was there. It would have been so cool to be there. But anyways, they beat them by 1. Then they played Decatur and beat them by 12. So yeah, they did pretty good. Pretty good in that aspect. They had, again, an undefeated season, or almost an undefeated season. They lost in the state semifinals to Hardin-Jefferson by 7. I think if they made it to state, they could have won. They would have beat Brownsboro, but they did not make it to state. They, let's see, who do they play from this team? They played Grapevine, beat them by 12. Testament to Grapevine, because I don't think Grapevine should have only lost by 12 in that game, but again, Grapevine, they can keep it closer than expected. They played all of these great teams. Their closest game was probably Ponder. They beat them by 3. But they beat Liberty Christian, obviously Grapevine, Boswell, Georgetown, and then obviously they had to play Decatur, Bridgeport, and Crum a total of 6 times, and they made it to the playoffs, and they just rolled through all these great teams, and so it was just a great season for them, almost undefeated. They have 15 players up on the roster and 2 seniors. Alright, final predictions time. This is going to be, again, it's going to be really weird again. I have Argyle at 14-0, Lake Dallas at 12-2, Richland at 7-7, Grapevine at 7-7, Ryan at 6-8, Colleyville Heritage at 6-8, Denton at 3-11, and Birdville at 1-13. I've slipped between, let's see, Richland, Colleyville Heritage, and Grapevine and Ryan, Grapevine and Colleyville Heritage, Grapevine and Denton. Grapevine sweeps Richland, split between Ryan and Denton. Colleyville Heritage, already covered them, and then Denton splits with Birdville as well. It's going to be super chaotic again. Honestly, Colleyville Heritage, their range for this year, I could have them at anywhere from 3rd to 7th. Same thing with Grapevine, 3rd to 7th, I would say. Denton, I don't know, they could, I'm not saying anything, well, I am, but they can make playoffs, I guess. They have a decent returning roster. They play in a style that if they're up, they can take a game, maybe. They take a couple of games. I mean, it would all depend on placement, I guess, of these games, strategy in games that they need to win and such. Yeah, big thing here, Argyle comes in 14-0 in their first ever 5A, or their first 5A year in this alignment. Yeah, so that's all I have for District 7 5A. Really excited because it was Lake Dallas. I may or may not be a homer for Lake Dallas because I go to Lake Dallas, but anyways, that's District 7. Tomorrow's going to be District 8. It's going to be just as good. We're gonna have it's Mansfield, Timberview, and Summit, Burleson Centennial, Midlothian Heritage. All these great schools. They're coming together. They're convening, and one of them has to miss the playoffs. I'm gonna go through that whole thing tomorrow, so make sure to look out for that. And as always, until next time, thanks for watching.